Hey, this is Heather, and today we're going to be showcasing a lavish feast and last meal from the Titanic. It took a lot of research and grocery store searching, but I managed to duplicate the food to the best of my ability. But before we can dive into the food, let's learn a little bit about the ocean liner and what brought it to its terrible fate. The RMS Titanic was a British passenger liner operated by the White Star Line, which sank in the North Atlantic Ocean on the 15th of April 1912, after striking an iceberg during her maiden voyage. She was headed from Southampton, UK to New York City and was trying to make valuable time. Of the estimated 2,224 passengers and crew aboard, more than 1,500 of them perished, which made the sinking possibly one of the deadliest for a single ship of that time. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this briefly, shall we? White Star Line made three sister ships, the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic, all of which sank. We have all but rumors to go off of and retelling, but it is said that the White Star used second-hand materials and gleaning steel from other ships that had failed to get the cheaper end of the bargain for building the Titanic. On top of that, the Titanic was built for luxury and to be the first of its kind, not functionality. White Star was more concerned it had too many lifeboats on deck, and that would make the many wealthy passengers fear for the worst and feel uneasy, which was the total opposite of what they needed. On top of the lack of lifeboats, the ship was running at a much higher speed than was suggested or even created to do, and had a low amount of binoculars, ignored iceberg warnings, and did not have weather on its side either. At 11:56 a.m., the ship struck an iceberg, leaving multiple holes in its hull, and by 2:20, the luxurious ship sank into the ocean depths, taking 1,500 unlucky passengers and crew with it. The ship sank in less than 3 hours and rested on the Atlantic floor until it was discovered in 1985. But enough facts. Today we're going to be recreating the last dinner of the Titanic, and needless to say, it was a 10-course meal. I didn't want to create that much food, nor did I want to eat that much food. So I've chosen some of the most amazing dishes that sounded the best and recreated them. So let's enjoy. Alright, to start off our Titanic, we are going to have one of their shrimp appetizers, which name I cannot pronounce, but you'll see it in the credits and in the menu. For that, we're going to need butter, shallots, shrimp, pepper, cream cheese, salt, tomato paste, parsley, vanilla, garlic, bagel crisp to put it on, or whatever flatbread, rum, lemon, and extra virgin olive oil. How does this all go together? Well, let's get going and see. Alright, to start off our dish, we are going to put some oil in our pan. Make sure that covers all of it. Going to be putting our shallots in. Oh, we're going to scrape out the rest of those, don't worry. And we're going to be putting our garlic in to cook. This is all going to cook for about 5 minutes. Much better. Now we're going to let that go for 5 minutes like I said before. And once that gets brown, we're going to add in our 14 shrimp that we were supposed to. And let those stir up for a while. Alright, once that's cooked, I'm going to be putting it into our food processor. I'm putting this back on the stove. I'll take our 1/4 cup of rum and let it cook in there. So it degazes the pan some. And give that a couple minutes to bake off some, and I'll be putting it in the food processor also. And once the rum is cooked down to a pretty much onion glaze to get the rest out of the pan, we are going to be adding it into the food processor. Alright, into that we're going to be putting a tablespoon of tomato paste. I'm going to be putting 2 tablespoons of butter. Got 4 ounces of cream cheese. Needed just a sprinkle of parsley. Sprinkle of our salt. Literally what they said, sprinkles of pepper. Last but not least, a drop of vanilla. Yeah, that might have been too much, but we'll see. Might offset the tomatoes some. Alright, time to whip it all up. We're going to put a little bit of our lemon juice on our remaining shrimp. And we will be putting those together in a moment. Alright, we got some bagel chips that we're going to be putting this together on. And what you do is leave a little scoop of the pate on it. You take one of the shrimp. You rest it on top. Then last but not least, take a little clump of the fish eggs or caviar or whatever you want to call it and put it together. I'll make 1 or 2 of these and try it out. And there we go. One little shrimpy. One little scoop of that. Alright, you know the drill. Let's have one. Well, I ended up eating 2 of them. They have really good flavor. I thought the tomato paste was going to be overwhelming, but it's not. And that's a good thing. Alright, well, that's our appetizer. On to the next course. We are going to be cooking potatoes. They go with the filet mignon as the 4th course of our evening meal. And for them, we're going to need salt, pepper, butter, parsley, garlic, which I've already roasted, and of course, peeled and already boiled potatoes, which I took the liberty of doing ahead of time. First off, I'm going to be putting my 2 tablespoons of butter into my Dutch oven, which I will then be putting into the oven to help cook the potatoes. It was either that or my cast iron pot, but honestly, I'm saving that for the steak. I need to get another cast iron. Alright, we're going to let that cook down and add our potatoes. It was mentioned in the recipe you can put a drizzle of olive oil to help the butter, and so I will. We're going to be adding our 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, and since I got a couple smaller cloves, I put in 4 technically. For butter almost completely melted, I'm going to be adding in the potatoes. There we go. We're going to let those brown up on each side before we season them a little. With these sizzling away in the pan, I'm going to sprinkle over our generous addition of our salt, pepper, and parsley. Alright, once those potatoes have browning on each side of them, we are going to put them into the oven at 375 for about 30 minutes. And for our filet, we are going to have a decently larger cut of filet mignon I actually found. Butter, pepper, salt that apparently gravity felt like it needed to claim. A little tiny bit of steak spice, because I'm missing some of the stuff. Rosemary, and our garlic again. Alright, we've got some of our garlic already roasting in our cast iron pan. We're going to generously season our steak on one side. I'm going to save some for the other side, though. I'm going to slap that into the pan to get it. Alright, we'll be turning that over to sear the other side and give it another 2 minutes on that side. Next, I'm going to be putting in the rest of a butter stick to melt on both sides. That's cool out a little bit. Put it into the oven for about 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, we have this beautiful, hopefully medium cooked steak. We're going to let it rest for a little while and then see how it looks inside. And here you have the buttered potatoes and filet mignon of the Titanic fourth course. And we are going to taste it fast. The steak is amazing, and the potato, I'm going to try, are also amazing. The rich butter flavor and garlic flavors are really coming through on that. Well, on to the next course. Our tour of the Titanic food. We are going to be making their alcoholic drink, first class romaine. And for that, you're going to need 2 cups of sparkling wine or champagne, which I got champagne. Got 1 cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of rum, half a cup of OJ. When I get that clear, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of lemon and a cup of simple syrup. Sounds easy enough. I don't have any ice for it like it wants me to have, though, so I'm kind of bummed. So maybe I'll chill it a little before I try it. But either way, let's get going. First off, we're going to pour our champagne into our pitcher. Our 1 cup of wine. Two tablespoons of rum. Or half a cup of orange juice. I had a tiny bit too less of the simple syrup, but this is a cup of simple syrup with a tiny drop of OJ to make up for it. And last but not least, our 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to mix that up with my spoon really well and chill it. And in a couple hours, I'm going to try it out. Alright, we're going to be trying out that drink I made. And if I talk all funny after this sip, you're all going to know why. Alright. God damn, first class knew how to party. That's awesome. Boy. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, like rum-wise, because that stuff's strong. Alright. Well, I've had fun taping the whole Titanic food from its last dinner. And I hope you've had fun watching. I gotta finish the rest of this drink. Maybe play Far Cry. See more wet skies and pink lightning. You know, normal things I do tipsy. Alright, have a good one. Bye! Today we're going to start out with one that I had to compromise a little on. It was supposed to be pretty much squib on watercress, and the best substitutes I could find is quail and baby arugula. But I was told that it would be just as good that way. So, you know the deal. Let's get going. We've made a mixture of our spices, our oil, and our garlic. And once we fix the quail, we can put it all over each one. Alright, we had to wash off our quail and pat it dry, which I think they look like a bunch of little demented frogs. We're going to be taking these, moving the legs up and trussing it, and then wrapping a piece of bacon around each one before we put it into our Dutch oven, which will then go into the oven that is 450. I'll show you those before I put them in, though. Alright, we got each of our quail wrapped up nicely in the bacon. They kind of look like demented little drumsticks now. That's going to go into our oven for 15 to 25 minutes. And just got to keep an eye on it. That's cooking. We're going to start our baby arugula. And I have our burner on a nice medium heat. Dump it in. It's going to be like spinach. It cooks down to virtually nothing. That's why I got my nice thing. Into that, we're going to add our garlic. drizzle of balsamic. Not a lot. Sprinkle of salt. Sprinkle of pepper. We're going to let that cook down with the oil that I have on the bottom of the pan. But you have to stir it constantly. So I'll see you back in a little bit. As you can see, it's starting to wilt down a little, but it still has a little more to go. So let's let it cook a little bit more. Alright, we took the quail out of the pan, and we're going to be putting a little bit of balsamic vinegar in there. We're going to be putting our chicken stock in there, but hold on a minute. Alright, we're going to let that cook up a little bit to make like a sauce for it. Remember our arugula? Well, that's all that's left after you cook it down. Gotta love it. Alright, we've got the quail over here, and what we have to do is remove the bacon, put the quail on there. So we're going to put it under the broiler for a little. Now that it is all cooked. Alright, we're going to put that quail back in the oven and put it on broil. You got to keep an eye on it because you're only doing it to brown it, but you don't want to burn it. So I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Alright, little quails are all done. All that's left to do is plate them. So we're going to take a little bit of our arugula first off the thing. I can guarantee you I'm not an expert at plater as Titanic chefs were. They probably had to make it perfect or get yelled at. Take one of my little birdies. Rest them right there. Come here, buddy. Put you on your side. Right there. Last but not least, I'll give them a little bit of my dressing I made. We made that dressing by reducing down some of the trimmings from the bird, adding in balsamic, and adding in broth. There you have it. You know the drill. Last thing left to do is taste it. Alright, I got a little bite of the quail, and let's see how it goes. Wow, that's really good. It has a different flavor from chicken. Which I almost kind of told myself they were little baby chickens, but you know. And the arugula I tasted right before this, and it has a great peppery flavor and a nice salt to it. Alright, our salad course on the Titanic was a Dijon dressing asparagus salad. And we are going to be making that with, well, asparagus, parsley, Dijon mustard, red wine vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper to taste. Let's get going. First off, you're going to want to cut the asparagus probably right around here. And we're not trying to waste a bunch of it. We just got to get these really tough ends off of it because they are no fun to eat. So let's cut those off and I'll show you the next step. For the sake of time and some room, I am going to beat our asparagus into this saucepan. It only needs to be boiled for 2 or 3 minutes, I said. So it's just going to be al dente, and it's just enough so we can chill it and use it in the salad. Alright, while the asparagus is boiling up, we are going to put in our 1½ tablespoons of red wine vinegar, our 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and salt and pepper to taste. Got some of our salt. Got some of our pepper. Time to whisk that up. Alright, our dressing mixed up is a rather thick but still vinaigrette consistency of dressing. All we gotta do now is wait for the asparagus to finish and run it under cold water. Alright, we got our asparaguses. They are soft but not mushy. And now we're just gonna cool them off for a little and toss them in the salad. Last but not least, when I add the asparagus in, I have about 2 tablespoons roughly of parsley I'm going to be chopping up very fine and adding to the top of that. Then we can mix it all together. Alright, we've got the parsley, we've got the dressing that has settled to the bottom, and we've got our asparagus, and all that's left is to mix that up into a nice, light, quick and easy salad to go with our meal. And there we have our asparagus salad, and I'm just going to grab one of the stalks and see how it tastes for you. That is really good. I almost think I would want to cut up some tomatoes into this or something, because it's lacking something. But as a salad, has a nice taste. You're not overwhelmed by Dijon mustard, which I was actually kind of worried about. It might also need a little more salt. That I can fix. But overall, it's pretty good. It's a nice and light little side dish for the meal that we've made.